What is up, you guys? It's another beautiful day today. The sun is shining, bro. It's awesome. Today, I just wanted to cover the topic of suffering. Now, I just want to say, first thing, why do we suffer in this world? I don't have, I have no idea, to be quite honest. And honestly, none of us do. And nobody besides God has that answer. But with suffering, I don't think it's just, pain and punishment or anything like that. No, suffering in general can suck. It can be the absolute worst, regardless whatever situation, big or small. Any sort of suffering usually really, really sucks and can bring some pain into your life. And again, why is there suffering? I'm not quite sure, okay? Really don't know why. But I do know that we're born into a messed up and unfair world. Again, sin, we rebelled against God, so this created separation from God, which ultimately led to, just a messed up world, and it's all broken. So it's important that when we're going through suffering, we're not just quick to, point the finger at God, because ultimately God's not really punishing us. And so I got caught up in this back in 2023 when I was going through a really painful experience, in my life of suffering, a very, very hard point in my life, and I was suffering very much so. And I got caught up in saying, why me, why am I going through this? Why do I have to go through all this pain? Why am I experiencing all these negative things? I'm so young. Why am I going through all this at such a young age? You know what I mean? I was just living that constant mindset of why me? Like, why God? Like, why are you basically like, why am I going through all this pain? Why you put me through this, Ultimately, I had the wrong idea the entire time. Again, suffering can suck so bad, obviously, It can hurt, it can tear us down, it can break us, it can really, to my point, it broke me down to, I had very, very bad thoughts I shouldn't have been having, about life, about taking my life, I was broken. But it wasn't God punishing me, but it was more so Him showing me that I couldn't rely on myself and that I needed Him to save me. I needed Him, truly needed Him. I couldn't rely on myself to, you know, figure out how to fix this pain and suffering when in reality God is saying, "Bro, just turn around. I'm right here with you. I'm trying to help you out." But in my own thinking, I could, go about it myself. After going through, that really hard experience and truly accepting Jesus' love, His love has produced an entire shift on how I just even view my life in general, but also suffering. So yes, we go through suffering. We go through awful, terrible times, and we go through terrible things. But it has a purpose. It has meaning. It's not just, oh, God's punishing me. No, it's okay. I'm going through something really difficult right now. What is God trying to show me? What is God trying to renew in me? It's not more so, God, I'm just going through this terrible time. Why? I'm hating that you're doing this to me. Why? Why is it me that has to go through all this? No, it's okay. I'm going through this really hard thing, this really difficult thing. God, I give it to you. I'm giving it all to you. I'm laying it in your hands. Help show me what you're trying to make out of this. What are you trying to change in my life that I need changed? Once we stop living in that why me mindset and focus on God, your life will be tremendously better. We're still going to go through hard times and suffering. Like I'm still going through hard times and suffering, not every single day, but they still come about. But now it's okay. God is trying to teach me a lesson here. Rely on Him. Rely on Him. There's a Bible verse I want to share with you. I'm reading in Job right now, which Job, if you haven't read that book before, this is my first time reading it. Wow. talk about ultimate suffering. Job is going through like some of the worst things imaginable to man. He's losing it all basically. And he's having his faith tested almost in a sense. But we just have to understand that, again, there's reason to God's suffering. So let me read that verse for you guys. The verse is going to be Job 12:13. With God are wisdom and might. He has counsel and understanding. That simple. That simple, right? We simply have to remember this. God's understanding is way, way above our own. Trusting in God's wisdom rather than our own can bring such security, and it can strengthen our faith. Again, if we're relying on ourselves to conquer these battles that ultimately we can't do it on our own. It doesn't work like that. We need God's divine power to help conquer these battles that we're going through. And again, we might think we know it all. We might think we have it all understood. But in reality, our wisdom compared to God's is like a speck. We're like a little speck. God's wisdom is beyond our understanding. So it makes sense that we put our faith in Him and rely on Him and His wisdom and His understanding. And ultimately, out of that will come more understanding, will come suffering, means He's helping build my purpose. Think of it like this. God is like a blacksmith, right? We are the piece of metal that is going to be shaped into a beautiful, elegant sword, an amazing piece of work. But that piece of metal has to go through fire, it has to go through beating in order to become that sword. That is suffering, in my understanding, in a nutshell. We are a piece of metal that is being shaped into a sword. God is the blacksmith that's putting us through the fire and beating us to shape us. Not to beat us down, not to break us down, to shape us and mold us into the person that we are meant to be. I just wanted to add lastly is that God doesn't enjoy that we suffer. You know, He truly does love us, and you might be like, well, if He does love us, if He does care about us, then why do we suffer? Again, we do not know why we suffer, okay? I can't give you the answer on that. I wish I could, but only God knows. But what I do know is that God is just, okay? He is fair. Life is unfair. We can't get the two mixed up. Life is unfair. We're born into an unfair world. But God is fair, and He is just, and He does care about us and love us. And again, the reason why we, as human beings that suffer, can relate to Jesus Christ, God in human form, the reason that we can relate to Him so much is that He paid the ultimate sacrifice. He suffered the absolute worst. And yet He was sinless and said, you know what, I love you. I'm going to do this for you. I'm going to suffer till death, all for us because He loves us. So we have to remember that. Anytime we're suffering, we can relate to a God who suffered, and that was Jesus Christ. Thank you for watching this. And again, I love every single one of you guys, and I care about you guys so much. And I pray that the Holy Spirit can fill your heart and that you can put your faith in Jesus Christ. God bless.